Hi there and welcome to another Python video. In this video we're going to take a look at some of the new changes in Python 3.9, or one of the new changes specifically, and that's the union operators that have been added to the dictionary object. So let's get started with that. It relates to 𝗦𝗰𝗶𝗹, so we're going to take a look at these new operators in Python. But first, before we take a look at that, let's understand the context of the problem. Now, you often have multiple dictionaries with different keys and values, and you want to merge them together into a single view, into a single dictionary. Let's say you have these two dictionaries, D1 and D2, and you need to produce a dictionary that merges the two of them together to produce D3, which has the three keys within it. That's the problem, essentially merging multiple dictionaries into a single dictionary. So let's examine how to do that. And I'm going to use VS Code for this video because the Colab runtime does not support Python 3.9. And remember, this new operator that we're going to look at only exists in Python 3.9. So let's load up Visual Studio Code. I've got the editor here, and I've replicated those two dictionaries, D1 and D2. And the keys are very simple. We have a D1 has name John and age 5, and D2 has hobbies, drinking and gambling. So quite self-destructive hobbies, especially for a 5-year-old, now that I see that age I've put in there. And if we run this, we're going to print out the two dictionaries, and you get them both represented here. So now let's look at how you would have to do this before Python 3.9, before these new operators. How would you merge the two dictionaries? And there's actually a variety of ways to do this, but let's see a few of them here. The first one is to make, you can directly mutate D1 with the update function. So if you update dictionary 1 with the keys and values from dictionary 2, that will change it in place, and then when we print D1 out, we should get a single dictionary that has everything in it. One problem with this is that you've directly changed the original dictionary D1. That might not be what you're going to want to do. So let's say you wanted to produce a new dictionary D3, and that has the keys and values from D1 and D2. What you could do is copy dictionary D1 and then to D3, which remember is a copy. You can then update with the keys of dictionary D2. And if I print D3, this would work. We get that single dictionary with all the keys and values. However, that method can be simplified a little bit further. There is a syntax in Python. If I just remove that, I'll comment that out. There's a syntax in Python for creating a new dictionary by essentially unpacking the keys and values within the two dictionaries, D1 and D2. And that will create a new dictionary D3 that has, if we print it out, the keys and the values from the other two dictionaries. And you see that that works quite fine there. And yeah, that's fine. Essentially that translates the keys and the values into keyword arguments to the dict constructor. But not everyone really understands what these unpacking operators mean, especially new beginners to Python. So let's take a look at the new merging operator, which directly is responsible for creating a union of dictionaries in Python 3.9. So commenting that out, let's see that the actual merging operator, I'll copy this snippet I've got here. And the merging operator in Python 3.9 is just this vertical pipe, similar to the pipe in Unix. And if we look at how that's applied here, what we can see is that we can create a dictionary D3, which is D1, and we use the new operator of the pipe, and we union with D2, and that will give us a new dictionary D3. So if we print that out, what would we get? Well, of course, we get, in this case, that it's an unsupported operand. That new operator has not been added to the version of Python that I'm running here by default, which is Python 3.7. We need to update that to Python 3.9, but I have a local installation of Python 3.9, as you can see here, and that's 3.9.5. so if I try running the same file with this Python 3.9, we will see that it actually does work. We don't get the unsupported operand error, we get the dictionary as we intended to get it. It's a merged dictionary with D1 and D2, so that works nicely. And finally, I want to show another operator, and that's the pipe with an equals. That allows you to do an in-place update to a dictionary D1. So if I do that and then print D1, I get D1 with the new keys from D2 added into it. So that's very similar to update, just a different syntax for doing that. As a final example here, I want to show you how you might want to assign IDs to staff. Let's say we have a staff dictionary and we've got 3 members of staff in our company. And what we want to do is we want to apply an auto-incrementing ID to each one of those staff. Now here's a way we can do that with the new operator. We can iterate over each staff, each dictionary of staff within the staff list. And I'm actually going to grab the index because we want to, what we want to do is assign an ID based on that index. So let's say we're enumerating over the staff and we want to start from index 1. So what that will do is we'll get, for this particular one, we'll have an index of 1 and then 2 and then 3. And what we're going to do is we're going to update the staff dictionary in place. Remember, as we iterate over it, each dictionary we get is called staff dict within this for loop. And we're going to update it with a new dictionary, which has an ID key and a value of I. So that will do an in-place update of the dictionary that we're iterating over, and it should add in an ID column that is by definition auto-incrementing because of the enumerate function. So finally, I'll print out the staff dict. And we should hopefully see that we're getting an ID in there as well. Sorry, I should be printing out staff here. That's the list of staff. And we see that we do have, yes, we do have an ID here. We've got 2 and 3 there. I'll do a slightly nicer print of that and see if you can see it better with the pprint module. There is a pretty print function in there that we can use. And that should print it out nicely for us, and we see that each of these members of staff has an ID associated with it. So that's all for this video. The key takeaway is that Python 3.9 has this new operator, which is essentially a dictionary union operator, and you can use it to create new dictionaries based off of other dictionaries, or you can also use it to update existing dictionaries from the keys and values that exist in another dictionary. So that's all. Thank you, and if you learned anything, please subscribe. See you later. Bye.